Hello, everyone. My name is Denise Johnson, and for my individual project, I will be presenting to you the Chinouya. I apologize in advance if I do not pronounce everything correctly. The Chinouya comes from the Okinawa prefecture, which is found off the coast of Kyushu, if I pronounced that correctly. If I did not pronounce that correctly, I apologize greatly. The Okinawa island encompasses actually over approximately 160 islands, actually. Chinouya also comes from the folklore Yanbaru, which is from the forested northern area of the Okinawa main island. The Chinouya is a yokai typically portrayed as a ghostly woman with long black hair that hangs down and abnormally large breasts. The Chinouya can be found near rivers and streams that are close to graveyards, and she's also known as the wet nurse or milk mother because she is known to watch over and nurture the spirits of dead children who have not made it past the age of 6 yet. However, the Chinouya is also known to nurture living children by feeding them breast milk. As far as stories and folk tales about the Chinouya, I couldn't find many stories about them, but there was one story I found on Yokai.com about a young couple. There was a young couple in the village on the Okinawa island. They recently had their second child, but the child became very ill after a few months. Everyone in the family, from the mom, the dad, grandparents, siblings, cousins, uncles, aunts, anyone you could think of, pitched in to watch after the baby during the day and night in hopes that the baby would get better. Now, one day, the child's health got better almost instantly, seems almost overnight, and the family was very happy because the baby started to look better compared to previous times where he looked very sick. One night, there was a hemp palm, which many of us have seen before. They're actually those palm trees we have down here whose leaves spread out and look like fans. So yeah, one of those trees started to glow in like this eerie way. And that same night, the door to the baby's room was open just a little bit, and the mom looked inside. When the mom looked inside, she saw a woman with long hair and large breasts smiling at the baby and telling him to come to her. Then she just vanished. The mom, I'm going to assume, was too overwhelmed with fear and shock, screamed for help, and rushed into the room, but it was too late. Unfortunately, the baby was unresponsive and started growing cold. Now, it is believed that the child probably drank the breast milk from the Chinouya, which is why he started to get sick. And when she appeared telling him to come to her, that was when the quote unquote inevitable took over. Moving on to the historical significance of the Chinouya, I feel that due to the Chinouya being recognized as a yokai that helps nurture children who have passed on, it's not uncommon that their significance is tied to their role as a guardian. Many Japanese cultures have funeral rituals and customs that they do, and one custom that many families cater to in the Okinawa region is they leave multi-tiered boxes of food at the grave of the deceased child or children as an offering to the Chinouya, pretty much asking her to watch over the child until they are ready or until they reach the age where they can freely pass into the afterlife no longer as a child. Now, there isn't much about the Chinouya exactly. However, there are other regional variations, such as and forgive me if I mispronounce this, Ubume, which have origins in the Nagasaki and Saga prefectures, which are also found in the Kyushu region. The Ubume is pretty much just a yokai who died in childbirth or pregnancy, and she appears in the water and tries to give her baby to strangers, pretty much asking for help. However, if the person takes the baby, they soon discover that this baby is actually a stone, or in some tales, a bunch of leaves that grows heavier and heavier until it crushes them to death. Very traumatizing. Now, a cultural impact I feel that has stemmed from the Chinouya tales are linked to the idea that many people have of not allowing young children and babies near or to use mirrors until a certain age. I'm not sure if it's true in all Japanese culture, but I know in some cultures they do not allow babies and children to get close to the water's edge out of fear of them encountering a Chinouya. And so, as a result, if they do go to the water's edge, the Chinouya will or can appear to the children in this sort of nurturing way and persuade them to come to her, much like she did in the tale I told you guys about. She may appear nice and sweet to the living children, but her intentions, once she has her grips on the children, are not if they drink her milk. Unfortunately, she's not necessarily trying to kill them. She's just trying to nurture, and I believe she probably can't really distinguish between which child is living and which child is not. I could be wrong. Again, there's not much about her or about the belief about her in regards to that. However, due to mirrors resembling the shine of a water's edge, many families do not allow their children to look into mirrors for fear of them encountering a Chinouya, or again, in fear of them thinking it's the water's edge and looking into it. Again, because I couldn't find much information about the Chinouya, I also couldn't find many images besides the modern adaptations I told you guys about. So some of the images I found that I'm showing you guys, in the top left, this shows what I feel is a Chinouya embracing a deceased child, being that there's like little, like kind of ghost-like features surrounding them, both of them. The picture under it depicts a Chinouya persuading a living child to come to her. And I feel because she probably has a natural nurturing spirit, the kid is willing to reach out to her, not knowing the dangers behind it. The middle picture in with the woman in red shows the character Ubume that I was telling you guys from Demon Slayer. The image next to it is the character Mama from the game Death Stranding. And the bottom picture under Mama is an older picture I found of the Ubume, which, as you can see, she's kind of looks like she's kind of crying out while holding the baby. However, if you take that quote-unquote baby from her, it will just pretty much grow heavier and heavier, turn into something that can grow heavier and heavier and eventually crush you. Now, I couldn't find that many pictures of Chinouya, so I pretty much could only work with what I found. So, in conclusion, the Chinouya is a yokai found in the Okinawa prefecture and is believed to be seen mostly near graveyards that are near rivers and bodies of water. She is known to appear as a ghostly figure with long black hair and very enlarged breasts, and she is also known to be the guardian for deceased children, nurturing them in the afterlife. However, she can also possess nurturing qualities to living children, which gets them to give into her, but this comes at the cost of draining their life and killing them eventually. There are variations of the Chinouya, such as the Ubume, which can be found in various prefectures throughout Kyushu. Although there aren't many pop culture adaptations of the Chinouya, there are characters such as the Ubume from Demon Slayer and Mama from Death Stranding that resemble the Chinouya, but it doesn't directly say she is a Chinouya. These are just theories that many people have gotten on board with. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And I thank you guys very much for listening to my presentation.